Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the clown Photoshop action. So the way the action works is you basically open up your photo and you fill in your subject with a color, you play the action, and the action will just tap a few times with a message asking you to do some quick things, and here is the result. So as you can see, what the action does, it transforms your subject into a clown, and the results that you get are fully layered. There is a really lot of options for customizing the results. You can easily change the color of the hair, of the eyes or the eye marks, of the nose, of those lips marks and lips, of the teeth, and basically you can randomize the colors in just seconds, and the action also creates even 40 preset color looks that you can choose from. Alright, so let me just close these two windows. So before you use the action, there are just a few things you should check just to make sure that the action will run without any errors. So the first thing you should check is that your photo is the background layer. So it should be called background. It has this little lock icon. And if you have something like this or anything else, just go to layer, new, choose a background from layer. Then click on this menu icon over here and choose the panel options. And make sure that the add copy the copied layers groups option is checked. Then go to the image mode. Make sure photo is the RGB color mode 8-bit Canon. And you can check the image size from here. For best results, you should use the images that are around from 25 to 4500 pixels wide or high. Okay. And to load the action, just go to Window, Actions, click on the menu icon over here, and choose Load Actions, and just choose the action from a folder according to a Photoshop version. Select the action file, click Load, and the action will appear here in your Actions panel. Alright, so then just hit B on your keyboard to select the brush tool. Right click anywhere inside the canvas, click on the gear icon over here and choose load brushes. And again, choose the brushes according to from a folder according to a Photoshop version. Alright, select the brush file and choose load, and there will be just one brush loaded here. And then you can choose the pattern stamp tool from here, click on this little arrow icon, on the gear icon, load patterns, and just choose the pattern file from a folder according to a Photoshop version again. So I select the pattern file, click load, and you'll get the textures here in your patterns panel. Alright, so what you need to do now is just go to layer, new layer to create a new layer, name it brush, and it's very important that you spell the word brush exactly like this, all letters lowercase, because the otherwise action won't work, and just choose OK. And now while this layer is selected, what you need to do is you need to fill your subject with a color. So you can do it using a brush tool. You can choose any color here, color doesn't matter, and brush over your subject. Or what you can do, sometimes easier to make a selection of your subject and then just fill the selection with a color. And in this example, it's easier to select the background than the subject. So what I can do, I can just select the background layer. I can choose the quick selection tool from here. I can make a quick selection of the background, and you can hold Shift and the Alt keys to add or remove some areas from the selection. Right, so you can just remove these areas that I don't want to select, and then after you make a selection, you press Ctrl Shift I or Command Shift I to reverse the selection. You select the brush layer. You can make some additional adjustments of the selection with the select and mask option or the modify. I usually use here the smooth, contract, and feather options to make a better selection. And then just press Shift F5 on the keyboard, select here the foreground color, fill in your subject with the color, press Ctrl or Command D on your keyboard to deselect. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to open my PSD file where I've already done the brushing before, a little bit more precise. Okay, and all you have to do now is just select the action here inside the folder and click play. And the action is going to stop a few times with the messages asking you to do some things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to fasten the action before each message. So I'm just going to click play now. Alright, so here we got the first message. It says now you have to brush over the eyes of your subject. Proper brush will be already selected by the action. All you have to do is to start brushing. After you finish, click play again and choose stop to proceed. So you choose stop. I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit, and as I said in the message, the proper tool will be already selected. All you have to do is start brushing, so you can just use square brackets on your keyboard to quickly change the size of the brush. And what you need to do in this step is to brush over the whole eye of your subject, right? And now I'm going to choose the eraser tool from here, and using the soft brush I'm just gonna remove the area that exceeds the eye area. Okay, and what you can do sometimes is to lower the opacities layer to see if you brushed correctly. Alright, so now I'm just gonna brush the other eye. Okay, so now I'm just gonna remove unnecessary brush area. Okay, so just gonna make a few more adjustments. And that's it. Alright, so now all you have to do now is to click play again, and the will continue to work. So again, I'm going to fasten the video and get back when the next message shows. Alright, so here is the next message that we got. It says now you have to brush over the irises of the eyes of your subject, and again you got the rest of the message the same as before, so you just stop, and this time you brush only over the irises of the eyes. And again you can use the eraser tool if you brushed more than you had to. Okay, here. Now the other. Okay, that's it. So now play the action again. Alright, so here is the next message. It says now you have to brush over the hair of your subject, and the rest of the message is the same as before, so you just stop. And now when you start brushing, you will notice that you can brush outside of your subject area, right? So this is going to help you to make the brushing work easier. You'll also be able to refine this area after the action is finished. Sometimes it's easier to do it after the action finished, and colorize the hair. You can better see what you need to improve. And if you brush outside of your hair area, what you can do is just choose the eraser tool again, and from here, and then just remove the brushing that is unnecessary. What you can do again is you can lower the opacity a little bit to better see where you got a hair, and again you'll be able to redefine this area later. Okay, just gonna brush a little bit here. with the eraser tool. Okay, return the opacity to 100% as original. And all you have to do now is to just play the action again. Alright, so here we got the last message, and it says, in next pop-up window, choose the texture PSD file that can be downloaded and click open. Choose continue to proceed, so you choose continue. And what you need to do is to select the texture file, the PSD file that can be downloaded. You choose open. And you'll get the message here says, now using the move tool, click anywhere inside the canvas and hold and drag the texture folder into your photo document. Then transform the texture to suit your subject face, and using the layer mask, make sure the texture covers the subject face only. After you finish, click play again. And please refer to the video tutorial if you need help here. Choose tap to proceed, so you choose tap. Using the move tool, you click and drag here to your photo document. You can then close down this file. And what you need to do now is to press Ctrl or Command T on your keyboard. You can check the link option here to keep the proportions. And you can transform the texture so it shows the face of your subject. Okay, and again, what you can do here is you can lower the opacity a little bit of the texture like this, and then see if it works well or not. Okay, so I'm just gonna, you can also sometimes position the texture here next to the subject and see if everything is in line. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate it a little bit. Alright, so I'm just gonna check it if it suits well. Okay, that's it. So you can lower the opacity like this and then transform the texture, transform it properly if you need. And now what you need to do is to just position the texture. You can move it with the move tool, or you can use your keyboard, however you like. Okay. Okay, and what you need to do then is to select the layer mask here. You choose the brush tool, pick a soft brush, set foreground color to black, and you just brush over the area that is outside of your subject face, just like this. Again, you can work with a lower opacity if that works better for you. Sometimes it's easier to do it that way. Alright, so what I can do now is I can just do more precise brushing into the layer mask. Okay. And to remove the area, you just brush with the black color here. So we're not using the razor tool like we did for the brushing on the beginning. So here you just are switching between the white and black color here. So if you wish to add some areas, to reveal the texture in some areas, you brush with the white. If you wish to remove it, you brush with the black. Right. Okay. A little bit here. Okay, so I'm just gonna brush with the black a little bit on the edges to make sure the texture doesn't exceed the face area. as I have mentioned, you can use the square brackets on your keyboard to quickly change the size of the brush. Okay. So when you're using the smaller brush, you're gonna make a more hard edge, and if you wish to make some smoother transition like we're going to do here, you then use the large brush. Alright. So it's going to increase the brush size. I'm going to brush a little bit here, and just going to brush with a large brush a little bit these top areas. You'll also be able to redefine these later after the action is finished. Alright, so I'm just going to add a little bit here like that, and now with that black brush gonna smoother this transition just like that. Okay, so that's it, and there are no any messages fired, so all you have to do now is to just click play. The action will continue to work, and I'm going to fasten the video here again, and I'm going to get back when the action is finished, and then I'm going to go through all the layers to show you how it actually works, how to effect design, and how can you customize it. Okay, so the action has just finished, so what I'm going to do is just going to close the action panel for now. And the first thing that you probably want to do each time you run the action is to just quickly close down all these folders. So how can you quickly do that? You just hold Control and L buttons for PC or Command Option for Mac. And while the flawn folder is selected, just click on this lever here. And that way you're going to close down all the folders. So I'm just going to expand a little bit this layers panel. So I'm going to start customizing this effect from the bottom. And what I'm going to do is just gonna hide this layer here, and I'm going to expand layer Y. Right. So the first layer that we got here is the original photo layer or the background layer. Okay, and the next what we got here is the use single color background layer. So what you can do is you can turn it on if you wish to use the single color background, and then you can just double click on this color box, and you can basically choose any color here that you like. Right, and if you click on this little arrow here, you will see that this layer has the gradient overlay effect, and what you can do is you can change the opacity here, you can change the scale or the angle, you can change the style if you like, and make any other changes. Okay, and I'm not going to use this layer in this episode, so just going to turn it off. And what we got here is the replace background. Double click here, layer. So how you replace the background is just double click here, you choose OK, and it says place your photo here. So go to File and Place Embedded, and you place your photo here. You go to File, choose Save, and close this window, and the background will be automatically added here in your photo document. Right, and what you can do then is you can change the blending mode of the photo to combine it with the use single color background layer. Right, by default this layer has the normal blending mode opacity to 100%. So you, for example, change the blending mode to multiply. You drop down the opacity, but you turn on this layer here. Otherwise, your background layer will be visible as you lower the opacity of this one. So turn on this layer, and you basically combine these two layers. Alright, so what we got next here is the subject layer. So I'm just gonna open the folder, and what we got here is the main subject layer. And alright, so what we have here is the subject saturation. So how it does the saturation is you just change the opacity, and for all the layers that you customize by changing the opacity, you can change the opacity either by clicking on the word opacity and dragging it aside, or you can click on this arrow here and just move this slider around. Okay, I'm going to leave the this layer to default. Okay, and next what we got here is the subject brightness. So you just double click here, and you can use this slider to adjust the brightness of your subject, and this layer won't affect your subject face area. Okay, so just gonna boost lightness just like that. Okay, and the next one we got here is the face. So this is the face texture, and as I have mentioned, you can still refine this layer mask. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna choose the white color here to brush over these areas, and a little bit gonna expand these areas so I can be sure that the texture won't exceed the face of the subject, as you can see. Okay, and if you made any changes here, and you might want to update this layer mask as well. So how you do that is you click Control to make a selection of the texture, and then you hold Control Shift and Down buttons, or the Command Option Shift buttons on the keyboard, and click this layer mask to intersect the selections. You select this layer, right click, choose Delete Layer Mask, and you just click here to add a new layer mask, and then press Control or Command I on your keyboard to invert the layer mask. Okay, that's it. And what we got here is the face brightness layer. So when double click here, you can adjust the brightness of the texture layer to better blend it with your photo. So what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna fade the white colors like this. Right, sometimes you might need to remove the layer like this with a large brush to make a better blending with the subject. Okay, but you can also try with the face brightness option. So the next one we got here are the teeth. So I'm just gonna open up the folder. We got the main layer here, and here we got is the teeth color layer. So what you do, you just turn it on, and you can double click here. This is our thumbnail, and if you wish, you can change the color, or you can increase the saturation. I'm just gonna increase saturation a little bit. Okay, just like that. And the next one we got are the lips marks. Okay, and what you can do, you double click on the lips marks color layer, and just move the slider, and you're gonna change the color in seconds. Okay, you can also change the saturation or the lightness. Okay, so this is the main lips marks layer. The next one we got here are the eyes marks, right? And what you can do sometimes if you wish to intensify these eyes marks even more, is you can just select the eyes marks layer and press Ctrl or Command J on your keyboard to duplicate it, and then you can just drop down the opacity of the complete folder just like that. Okay, alright, and this layer also has the color layer above it, and what you can do, you can turn it on, double click the layer thumbnail, and you can colorize those marks as well. Okay, the next one we got here is the nose. So what you can do, you can Also, you got the main layer here, and you got the nose color adjustment layer here. So you double click on this layer, and you can again change the color just by moving this slider around. You can also change the saturation or the brightness. So sometimes what it might happen is that you got some details over the nose, and they usually come from the eyes layer. So we're just going to go to the eyes layer right now, so I'm going to show you. But before that, what it may happen sometime is that maybe you wish to hide the subject nose here, right? If it somehow doesn't suit well or because of some other reason. And what you can do is you can just select the subject folder, select the layer mask here, choose a brush tool, pick a soft brush, set from color to black, and simply brush over the nose or any other subject area that you wish to remove. And what you can do then is to select the use single color background layer, right? You turn it on and you press Control or Command I on keyboard to invert the layer mask, and then you brush with the white color over the area where you have just removed any area of the subject. Okay, and you double click here and you choose some other color, right, to make it blend better. So you can say it white, black, or you can just choose some shade of gray here, like 50% gray color, right? So I'm just gonna hide this layer, and I'm gonna create a new mask because I don't wanna make that changes here in this example. And what you may also want to do is to hide this nose ball and reveal your subject nose, and then you have this shadow of the nose ball. So what you can do then is just select the face folder, select the layer mask, and with the black color simply brush over the shadow area to remove it. Okay, sometimes what you might also want to do is to make these texture more subtle, right? So what you can do, you can brush with the black into this face layer, face folder, layer mask to remove some details completely. Or what you can do is to just lower the opacity with the brush tool here to 50%, and then just make those details less visible, just like this. Okay. Right, so here we got the eyes folder. So just open the folder, and what we got here is the eyes irises layer. Okay, and we got the eyes irises color layer adjustment layer here that you can just double click on it and just change the hue to change the color of the eyes. You can again change the saturation and the lightness if you like. And you also have the effect here, the inner glow. You can double click there. If I turn it off, you'll see the difference. So you can make any other changes here, like change the opacity of the glow or changing the size and other. You can also change the color of the glow. Okay, and what we got here is the main eyes layer. So if you wish here, you can make some additional adjustments to remove some details or something. So you can brush with the black if you want to just redefine this area. And we got the eyes darkening layer. Gonna darken the area around the eyes. What you can do with this layer, you can just change the opacity, right, to adjust the amount of darkening. And if it's already set to 100%, you wish to darken the eyes area even more, you can just press Control Command J on your keyboard to duplicate this layer and then change its opacity. Okay. And if it happens that this layer covers the nose with a shadow or some details, what you can do, you can select the eyes folder and you can simply brush with the black color over the nose. Alright. Just like this. Okay, that's it. And the next one we got here is the hair. So you got a hair layer over here, and you got a hair color adjustment layer here. So you can just double click on the layer thumbnail and change the hue value to quickly change the colors, the same as for the other layers. And what more we can do here, we can select this layer mask and redefine the hair area. So you can brush with the white where you wish to expand the hair area, or brush with the black where you wish to remove the hair area. Okay, so you basically do it. I'm just gonna return the opacity to 100%. Okay, just like that. And what we got here is the randomized color layer. So you double click here and you just move this layer around, and you're going to quickly randomize all the colors. And I'm just going to duplicate this file. If, for example, have some really colorful result like this, so just going to quickly randomize colors. Okay, and now with this layer you can get multiple color variations very quickly. Okay, what you can also do is you can define what layers you wish to be randomized with these layers. So what you can do is you can control click on the hair layer mask, and then control shift tab, for example, the nose, you got the lips marks, and you got the eyes, irises, and then you delete this layer mask, you just add a new layer mask. Now you're changing only the color of those layers. As you see, the teeth and the other areas won't be colorized with this layer. Okay. The next one we got here is the subject textures layer. Okay, so as you can see, this layer has the layer mask, so the texture is only visible over the subject area. What you can do, you can open the folder, you find 4 textures here, and what you can do is you just double click on the pattern overlay here, and you drag this slider around to adjust the visibility of the texture. Okay, and I'm going to do the same for the other layers. Okay, and this layer doesn't have the effect, you just change the opacity here, and this is very sensitive, so I'm going to use some lower value. Okay, and if you wish to remove these textures from the hair or any other area, select this layer mask and just brush with the black, right, just like that. Or you can remove the texture separately by selecting the area layer masks and brushing where you wish to remove the selected texture. Right, so next what we got here is the vignette layer. And what you can do, you can also change the opacity over here. I'm just going to leave it default. And here we got the color looks. So as I had mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can choose from 4D color looks. How you select the color look is just select any of those layers and just turn it on, see how it looks. And if you don't like it, simply try with another until you find the one that goes best with your photo. This one here is turned on by default. What you can do also is you can change the opacity of the color looks, and you can combine them. Okay, so you turn on several color looks, change their opacities, and create some, get some unique look. And in this example, I'm going to use this one here. I'm just going to lower the opacity like this. Okay. Next, what we got here is the overall contrast. So how does the contrast? You just change the opacity. Okay. I'm going to set it like this. The next one we got here is the overall brightness layers. So you double click here, and using these 5 sliders, you can adjust the brightness of your photo. So this slider here is boosting the shadows. This one here is boosting the highlights. This one here is affecting the midtones. And you got another 2 sliders over here. This one is fading the shadows, and this one is fading the highlights. Okay, I'm just going to leave it default. And the next one we got here is the overall vibrance saturation layer. So how you adjust the vibrance saturation, you just double click here, and you just move these sliders to adjust them as you like. Okay. And just gonna select the hair layer mask again, just a little bit refine this area. Okay. And lastly, what we got here is the overall sharpening layers. Just gonna turn it on. So this is the layer I hide on the beginning of the video. The reason for that is if you want to make any changes to the design, these lines that are giving the sharpening need to be updated as well. So how you update this layer is you just delete this layer and you press Ctrl Shift and D, or Command Option Shift and D on your keyboard to make a screenshot, and then you press Ctrl Shift U or Command Shift U to desaturate this layer. Okay, and then you go to Filter, Other, High Pass, and just set the radius to 2 pixels, and then change the blending mode of this layer to hard light. Okay, and now what you can do is you can change the opacity here to adjust the amount of sharpening. Okay, so that's it, and let's just quickly check the before and after. So this is the before, and here's the after effect. Alright, so I hope you understood everything, but if you still need any help or you got any questions, feel free to contact me anytime via my Envato profile page. Thanks for watching.